Hi everyone, I've been studying Tagalog, actually I should say Filipino, since that's the national language of the Philippines, and it is based on Tagalog, but it's not exactly the same. It includes more vocabulary borrowed from Spanish, English, and Philippine languages like Cebuano. As someone fluent in Spanish and Indonesian, I've often wondered in the past, would these languages help me learn Filipino? The short answer is yes, but not always in ways you might expect. In this video, I'll share my personal experiences learning Filipino and explore how Spanish, Indonesian, Malay connect to Filipino, including some interesting examples and tricky false friends. First, Spanish influence on Filipino. Spain ruled the Philippines for over 300 years, from 1565 to 1898. Even though the Spanish language itself isn't widely spoken today, Spanish left a deep imprint on Filipino vocabulary, and especially some dialects which are very close to Spanish. So you might wonder, how much of Filipino is Spanish? It's estimated that 20 to 30% of everyday vocabulary comes from Spanish. You see it in the days of the week, the numbers, religion, government, everyday objects, time, and calendar terms. Let's take a look at the days of the week.
Monday,
Lunes,
Lunes,
Tuesday,
martes,
Martes,
Wednesday,
miércoles,
Miércoles,
Thursday,
jueves,
Jueves,
Friday,
viernes,
Viernes,
Saturday,
sábado,
Sabado,
Sunday,
domingo,
Linggo.
As for numbers, Filipino uses two number systems. The native numbers, isa, dawang, tatlo, etc., and Spanish numbers, uno, dos, tres, etc. The Spanish numbers are common when telling time, telling dates, talking about money, and giving addresses, for example. Let's take a look at telling time. First of all, in Filipino, horas means hour or time. It comes directly from the Spanish word hora, meaning hour, but with an added S in Filipino. Time is typically expressed with Spanish numbers, especially in formal or conversational contexts. You'll notice in the examples that before the number, alas is used. It comes from the Spanish phrase a las, which literally means at the, used before the hour. A las dos at 2 o'clock. A las cinco at 5 o'clock.
it's 7 o'clock in the morning.
Alas 7 na ng umaga.
We'll meet at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Magkikita tayo sa alas 3 ng hapon.
I went to sleep around 11 last night.
Natulog ako bandang alas 11 kagabi.
We also hear dates, often expressed using Spanish numbers, especially in formal contexts. Note that the names of the months of the year are also derived from Spanish. You'll see a or a before the number to mean that on a certain day. Of course, that also comes from Spanish and is used to mean at or on.
My birthday is on the 12th of July.
Ang kaarawan ko ay sa 12 ng Hulyo.
She was born on the 16th of November.
Ipinanganak siya noong 16 ng Nobyembre.
There will be a meeting on the 3rd of September.
Magkakaroon ng meeting sa 3 ng Setyembre.
Their wedding is on the 24th of December.
Ang kasal nila ay sa 24 ng Disyembre.
Spanish numbers are also the default choice when talking about prices, paying or receiving money, giving amounts, example, discounts, bills, coins, negotiating and transactions, mentioning large sums, and weighing goods sold by the kilo. Even though there are native numbers in Tagalog and Filipino, they are rarely used in financial contexts. For money, Spanish numbers sound natural, efficient, and are the norm in Filipino. Let's take a look at some examples.
Example 1. Buying at the market. How much is 1 kilo of pork?
Magkano ang 1 kilo ng baboy?
400 pesos per kilo.
400 pesos ang kilo.
Spanish numbers used.
400.
Example 2. Getting change. How much is my change?
Magkano ang sukli ko?
Your change is 50 pesos.
50 pesos ang sukli mo.
Spanish numbers used.
50.
Now let's take a look at a small sample of common Spanish loanwords for everyday objects. Notice that they have been adjusted for spelling and pronunciation.
Table.
Mesa.
Mesa.
Chair.
Silla.
Silya.
Window.
Ventana.
Bintana.
Spoon.
Cuchara.
Kutsara.
Fork.
Tenedor.
Tenedor.
Shoes.
Zapatos.
Sapatos.
Watch or clock.
Reloj.
Relos.
School.
Escuela.
Eskwela.
Street.
Calle.
Kalye.
Ink.
Tinta.
Tinta.
Curtain.
Cortina.
Cortina.
Belt.
Cinturón.
Cinturon.
Soap.
Jabón.
Sabon.
Cup.
Copa.
Kopita.
Wallet.
Cartera.
Kartela.
Candle.
Pela.
Belya.
Sometimes words borrowed from Spanish take on a different meaning. For example, seguro means for sure in Spanish, but seguro in Filipino means maybe, probably, not sure. Now let's take a look at Filipino and its Indonesian and Malay linguistic cousins. Filipino, Tagalog, and many other languages in the Philippines, along with Indonesian and Malay, come from the Austro-Indonesian language family, sharing common roots. This shows up in vocabulary, grammatical structures, pronouns and affixes, and cultural concepts. Here are some examples of common vocabulary that are more or less the same across the languages.
Eye.
Mata.
Mata.
Child.
Anak.
Anak.
Fire.
Api.
Apoy.
Moon or month.
Bulan.
Buwan.
Sky or heaven.
Langit.
Langit.
Pain or sick.
Sakit.
Sakit.
Year.
Tahun.
Taon.
5.
5.
5.
4.
4.
Apat.
Though there are many examples of cognates that we could consider, there are also quite a lot of false friends, meaning the same words but with different meanings. Let's take a look at some examples. First, mahal in Filipino means love, dear, and expensive. But in Indonesian, it only means expensive. Lagi means always in Filipino, but again or more in Indonesian. Suka means vinegar in Filipino, but to like in Indonesian. Ingat means take care in Filipino, but remember in Indonesian. Kaya means can or able to in Filipino, but means rich in Indonesian. Tanaman means garden in Filipino, but plant in Indonesia. Bunga means fruit or result in Filipino, but flower in Indonesian. Halaman means vegetables in Filipino, but page or yard in Indonesian. Balita means news in Filipino, but toddler in Indonesian. Alam means to know in Filipino, but it means nature in Indonesian. Now let's consider grammatical similarities. Both languages are affix heavy, where prefixes, infixes, and suffixes modify verbs and nouns. But As I pointed out in a previous video about why I think Tagalog is more challenging to learn than Indonesian and Malay, the system is more complex in Filipino. So to wrap up my experience, I would say that as a Spanish and Indonesian speaker, I found that these languages gave me an edge in vocabulary and grammar in learning Filipino. Spanish made a lot of vocabulary, especially some formal vocabulary and numbers, easier. Indonesian gave me a feel for the structure and Austronesian word patterns. But Filipino is its own language with particles like ba, na, pa, and pronunciation shifts that make it quite distinct from Indonesian and Malay. There's a lot to learn, but it's rewarding. Have you learned Filipino or started to study it? Did you know Spanish or Indonesian? And did these languages help you? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more. Salamat sa panonood. Thanks for watching. If you would like to know more about my experience over the past 5 decades, learning and using more than 30 languages around the globe, with adventures in 101 countries so far, then please visit my website, polyglotdreams.com. There you will find my memoir, A Life in 30 Languages, translated in various languages and integrated with audio and dual readers to offer a great way to improve your target languages.